So, Steve, you want to go first?
We played a couple of family games on Father's Day, including one that we got to the table for the first time called Belratti.
Ooh,
And
Belratti.
This is a hard one to find, I think, in the U.S. It is very cool art.
Steve, I saw a couple of different covers. I saw this one, the one that you own, and then I saw like a Spanish edition and a couple other editions, all with different and all with the same style of art.
All with the same style, but I think they might do different art for the American or English version. I'm not sure. The way to describe this game, very light game. It probably comes across as like a mix of Mysterium, where you're having to guess what someone's intending, perhaps.
Sure.
And my son also latched onto that as being kind of like Medium. He called it an off-brand version of Medium at the end of things, but I don't think that was necessarily a slam. The idea is you have these characters. It's cooperative. You divide the number of people playing basically in half. Half of them become these folks who are the museum curators, who want pictures in a particular theme for their museum. The other half become these artists, the owls, who have to choose from their hand of cards paintings that they think will match the theme that comes up. Totally done randomly. So 2 cards come off the top of the deck, and they might be these 2. Mushroom-looking thing and the Eiffel Tower. These come out in front of everybody, and the curators have to say, we want 3 paintings that fit either of those 2 themes. And then we look at our hand of cards, and we decide, among the 2 of us, for example, who were the owls, could we match those 3? You can't tell which ones you want to do. You can only say, I've got a good one, I've got an okay one, I'm really struggling. And you might come up with these 3 cards as ones that you want to put out as possible themed paintings. Thinking cigarettes, maybe smoking in France. Thinking maybe world traveling. Maybe they would latch on to Paris that way. And then maybe April in Paris. Maybe you're really struggling for that one. You're thinking it's raining in Paris. But the interesting part of all of this is you don't just put them out. The extra character here is Belratti. And Belratti is the forger. He puts out random paintings that could match up with the theme. And if Belratti sneaks his forgeries through, you basically, that's the clock for ending the game. So if these might be the cards that Belratti would put out, and we would think, oh, crap, we're really dead. Café au lait. Oh, they're going to latch on to Paris with that one. Oh, even worse, French wine comes out. Maybe someone's a big fan of Pulp Fiction. They say, oh, I know what he's thinking. He's thinking Royale with cheese.
Royale with cheese.
I know what he means that. So you're trying to get into the head of somebody else. Belratti might put out the French bicycle as well. And it's all randomly done. And then you turn up all those cards. And the curators now have to look and say, I think these are the 3 that they meant, and which of the themes that it matches to. You get points for every one that you select right of yours. But for every one that Belratti sneaks through, it starts the countdown. If he gets 6 in, game over. Totally cooperative game, and you're basically trying to compete to get your best score. But you're also trying to lock in and say, I think I know she'd think this way. He meant that for Paris.
But it's cooperative with the competition.
Completely co-op, but the competition is an AI. Belratti's an AI. He just randomly puts out 4 cards off the top of the deck, and they could be awful, or just like the example I gave you, they could perfectly match Paris, and you're totally screwed. Clever little game.
That's Marshall checking in. He says he was in Lafayette today, home of the gumbo, and he says we got jambalaya for lunch, and now he's got gumbo at dinner time.
Well done,
Nice.
Marshall. Why didn't you stop in my office? We could have played unmatched. Dang it. All right.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's Belratti and cooperative to a point because you're trying to score.
It's completely cooperative. Nobody's playing Belratti. Belratti just randomly takes 4 off the deck, and he's trying to screw with you. But everyone who's playing at the table is all on the same team.
One of the games that I like is, especially with my kids were younger, was Castle Panic by Fireside Games. Okay. And that one is ostensibly competitive. And I think it was because it came out at a time when there weren't a lot of cooperative games. Right. It's cooperative, but you're supposed to take score. I don't really know anybody that does that because I've played the game dozens of times. We've taken score once. The kids didn't really find it that interesting. They found it more interesting for all of us to cooperate and try to beat the monsters. Is the scoring part something that you guys don't care about, or is it something that you take important?
The scoring part is the only way to, I guess, kind of know if you did well or poorly.
Okay.
We did poorly.
Oh wait,
obviously.
so it's not an individual score. It's a
No,
group
it's total. It's total group score.
Oh,
So
okay. Well, that makes sense.
if we put out the 3 that I showed you, and the team that was picking afterwards, trying to find the real paintings, picked our 3 and matched them correctly to Paris or the mushroom, we get 3 points. Belratti gets nothing. But if they got 2 right and then Belratti snuck in the Royale with cheese, there's 1 point for Belratti, and we're moving towards 6 that ends the game. So really, you are picking how many cards can you get through, and our little minimum of 9 cards was pretty pitiful, but it was fun. Light.
What do you think, Verla? Something that your game night would like?
I'm totally interested in that. I think some of my friends up in Eugene would love that too.
I think it has a potential chance to stick around because the next day my wife, my better 2/3, asked me, what was that game we played with the pictures? So there's a chance that either she just wanted to remember the name, or maybe it'll come to the table again sometime. Who knows?
What's the time?
For us, it was the first to teach. It wasn't that big deal to get the hang of things. I would say probably 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
It sounded like about a 20, 30-minute game, not like a 1 hour game.
No. So you could play it at the start of a night or at the end of a night to wind down. But I think you'd really pay off, just like in Mysterium or just like with Medium. If you've got somebody that you sync up with, it'll work well. And then it moves around the table, so you're not always being the painter. Once the round is over, everybody shifts their owl or their cat to the side, and it keeps moving around. So you're changing your roles, but you're still always playing together.
I like the sound of that even better than Mysterium.
I thought so too. That's why Mysterium's no longer with us, and I wanted to try and find this one. Simpler, smaller footprint.
Was this a Dice Man Cometh game? Did they mention this?
Absolutely was.
Yeah, I remember this episode.
It's in my hands. Yep.
Okay.
They recommended it highly as a good filler gateway game.
Yeah, I remember them talking about this game. So, and I think we've talked about it on the show, or at least you've talked about it on the show before. So, and that's Belratti.
Say again, bro.
How old is that game roughly?
I think it's 2017 or 18. I think it says on here 2018 at the bottom in the print. So that might be a second printing of this, but it's fairly recent, the last couple of years.